And the purpose of tonight's meeting is to discuss the facade grant program. And Retta, I believe you have a presentation for us.
I do. So the mission statement, as of right now, is that the facade grant program aims to help business owners with the consent of property owners improve their building facades and encourage investment in our business areas. It is designed to enhance the streetscape, strengthen partnerships with stakeholders, and encourage revitalization of older buildings. Furthermore, the intent of the program is to assist for-profit businesses in growing the tax base within the town. The eligibility, as of right now, the building must be located in the town limits, and the building must be occupied or in the process of being repaired or upgraded. The property must be zoned B1, B2, B3, I1, I2, mixed use 1, or mixed use 2. Buildings must be at least 50 years old. The applicant must be a for-profit business owner. If the business owner is different from the property owner, the applicant must have the property owner's consent. The applicant must be willing, able, commit to, and demonstrate equal match of the grant awards in project, or the project investment. And applicable work. We request all applicants to submit a sketch of the proposed work with the application, stabilization of the facade of the buildings fronting on eligible streets, removal of historically inconsistent materials from facades such as wooden board, plywood, vinyl siding, and replacement windows if restoring original details underneath, such as transom windows. Restoration of original windows, replacement of windows with period correct versions, reopening of brick windows, repair, restoration, or replacement of period correct architectural details such as cornices, dormers, doors, lintels, window pediments, columns, and similar details deemed to be contributing to the character of the building. Painting in historic or period colors, restoration of historic painted signage, hardscaping, landscaping, improvements in the area between the front of the building and the public street. Items with an asterisk will require the artist rendering to be approved by the facade grant committee. And I understand that there's an artist that used to be hired for $500 if they didn't have that rendering. That is the reason that the application only went up to $4,500 instead of the $5,000 in the application box. Okay. Thank you. So the scoring metric as of right now is that the facade grant program selection committee will score applications based on these categories: exemplary architectural design that utilizes high levels of materials and finishes and provides unique features not commonly found in town. It impacts the end visibility of the project to its surroundings. The owner or agent of the subject property is making other substantial investment. The use of the subject property meets one of the goals outlined in the comprehensive plan or other planning documents such as the 2016 Urban Development Areas Report. Identified historical significance to the community. Prioritization will be given to the properties that have not received previous facade awards. The award money the application has a checkbox of how much the applicant is requesting, and it is a matched grant, so however much they're requesting would need to be half of the overall expense. So anywhere from 1 to 5,000 if they already have renderings. And I don't know if the artist is still available for upcoming years, but Christina has some examples of some renderings that she did. And that's an example of our application currently. They provide the site address and the property owner's name and address. They provide the business name if there is a business located in that building. And then they list the improvements that they're wanting to submit. And if they had an asterisk beside any of the things they're submitting for, that would require them to do a sketch with the application, so they would need to attach that. And then they would provide a budget of whatever the request may be. And then we do require the applicant signature and the property owner, because the property owner will need to consent, and those could be separate. So I passed out a packet for other locations that have facade grants in Virginia, just as examples for you all, if you wanted to look at anything other people do. In any other part of Virginia, the closest is Benton. And going through those, some of the deviations, some of the things that some of them do differently or have that we don't. Some of them, well, most of them have designated areas or districts. And some of them just have like an allowance for commercial spaces with housing additionally, so mixed use. They do include the signage. Some of them have, well, they don't allow for the windows, doors, or paint alone to qualify. There's exterior improvements that they say are allowed on the backs and the sides of eligible buildings based on, they have a program advisory committee, and so they allow other portions of the building based on their review. Exterior work is visible from the public right-of-way, so some buildings, if you can see the side of the building, then they would allow for that. And some of them break down the maximum award based on the criteria. So awnings would be different than, I think one of them, an awning was a max of 1,000, for instance. And some of them required that they have 2 quotes instead of the one that we require. And there was one that required a mandatory commercial corridor facade grant workshop prior to applying. And then the award amount for one was different than the reward amount for the property owner was different from the tenant or the business. So they separated that. If it was an owner, then they actually gave them a little bit more. and they were allowed to submit for parking area upgrades. So if you had a gravel lot or something similar, then they would allow that to be paved with the award money, but not anything that was parking maintenance or minor routine patching. And then they also included an outdoor cafe as an eligible item listing, like separately from others. And some other options, which currently we are an entitlement community. That's why we get that HUD CDBG money. If we were not an entitlement community, if we ever decided to relinquish that status, then we could apply for other things with CDBG, such as this grant opportunity, CDBG Community Improvement Grants, and they can be for economic development, comprehensive community development, community service facilities, targeted neighborhood housing rehab, and public infrastructure. As of right now, we can't apply for those, but those are something that they're there if that's something you want to do in the future. So with that, the applications are due in the spring of each year, and we can utilize the regional commission to apply. They can assist us with that. It is through the Department of Housing and Community Development. I think that was it.
All right, can I actually just read my disclosure statement, the COIA thing? Today's discussion involves a Facade grant program for downtown and I guess the whole downtown and the whole Christiansburg. As many of you know, my spouse and I own many businesses, houses downtown and all throughout Christiansburg that might indirectly benefit from the program. However, that program will affect multiple businesses downtown or around Christiansburg, and not myself or my spouse individual, and as a consequence, I'm a member of a group of 3 or more individuals who may be affected. Therefore, in this situation, the exception of the Virginia State and Local Government Conflict of Interest Act, Virginia Code Section 2.2-3112, B1 applies. In compliance with that section, I hereby declare that I'm able to participate in the discussion and voting on this topic fairly, objectively, and in the public interest. I do know we're not voting today, but obviously, whatever is discussed over here will directly go to town council. Your presentation was great.
You're
I'm
good.
sorry.
And again, I apologize, I cannot see the screen, I mean, the small words, and I'm not sure anybody else got it. Thank you, Sam.
No.
But was there anything in any of the other, downtown facade programs that addressed landscaping?
Yes, most of them do actually provide funding for landscaping,
Okay.
which we also have that in our allowances. It's hardscaping and landscaping is what it says.
But there is restrictions in other places, not cutting the grass for the year, right?
Yes, so, yeah, it would have to be something that was a
Planning.
beautification. It couldn't be like a contract to mow for the year.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which we had in the past.
You what?
Which we had in the past.
Oh, which hay, and y'all had that before?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's-
I think clarification is obviously one of those things that needs to be obviously disclosed. There's a lot of items in here that obviously have been studying about it. Do you have any other presentations or?
No, just the information, in more detail for each of the other localities. If you all wanna go through that individually, or, I just wanted you to have that for reference.
And we also,
One of the things that I heard in this thing that I really liked was, and I forget what city, but I mean, if you're going to apply, you need to attend a workshop prior to applying. I think that lays the meat and potatoes right out on the table is what we can do and what we won't do. And that's something we may want to consider developing if and when we go with the next round.
We could talk about that at the Central Business Committee. Actually, there were several things, I was really surprised just glancing through this really quickly, that we talked about in Central Business Committee. One of those was a workshop that explains to people, what the process is and the timeline, how to write a good application, support for renderings, and artist renderings if needed, when not to start the work beforehand, like how to, get your reimbursements done, like all of that information being included in the workshop, which I think would set us up for lots of success and lots of clear applications that meet the requirements, before we receive them.
I think I have comments about that. I was watching some of your video and you were asking for some technical assistance. I think, and my concept of being a part of this for a while now and seeing it from the years previously, because I used to watch those videos, and I actually came to many of those meetings when Bishop and Marisa Sachs were here, part of that Facade Grant Committee. I watched it through from there to now and what it has become. And one of the things that the technical assistance has been given to the businesses, I feel like looking at from a business perspective and seeing it from a person in the community, not because I show up to these meetings, but because I have seen what the process is being. We have Amanda, she went to the businesses and told them about this. She got applications. She got over 12 applications. That the process was done, and the businesses were mentioned about this. I think there has been information. We have been doing it for 5 years now. Information has been given to the businesses and to the people. I don't think that we have lacked any of not providing the information. We have extended the timeline for people to apply. We have been very, very seeing it from the outside, even in just looking at it. I mean, we have been very lean with people as far as what they can apply for. They can pretty much apply for everything under some criteria. The problem is that even though you put it in black and white, people are not reading, And the other thing is, how many businesses are there that you can actually help? Because the thing is that if you're looking at this graph of the people that we gave the grants to, a lot of these people didn't even do any of the work they said they were gonna do,
Well, we didn't give to them, right?
Yeah,
They
exactly.
approved the grant, but they didn't do the work.
But
so
how
we
many
didn't
of
pay
them have been doing it year after year after year? I do agree the town did a wonderful job at the beginning. We have been doing a good job over the years. That I think that those businesses there are not that many buildings that you can literally do work to. And that's when I look at the downtown, it's pretty much 4 owners, and you got government offices, and then you have nonprofits. That's it.
We expanded it to the town of Christiansburg, and we moved it from 100-year-old buildings to 50-year-old
75
buildings.
to 50.
Or 75 to 50. So
And we thought we were gonna get all these applications, which I was disappointed we didn't. And and it has been, like I said to you, we have been wanting to give the money out. And we have worked so hard. That poor girl right here, I gotta tell you, she went and talked to people, took pictures, did everything she could to make sure that people were able to qualify. And so the work is not that it has not been done. We have communicated to businesses. We have told them, there was a building over there, the CrossFit, is that what it's called? There were recommendations. They would, to get the whole grant, can you paint the building? Can you do this? Can you do that? And some of the stuff you came back and say, yeah, they're willing to do that now.
Which building was that? I'm sorry. Which
The
building?
CrossFit, Christiansburg
Okay.
CrossFit, which
okay.
is by Waffle
I
House
got
across
you.
the
Yeah,
street.
we can-
And those are great things that we see that came out of this program. Hopefully they do the work. And that's the thing, you have like Cambria, the station. They have applied time and time again. They cannot even do a $500 door. And so, my belief, we have spent a lot of time, not just ourselves, but all the staff, they have been done the work. It's not that they haven't done the work. I just think that there is times in life where sometimes it's just look at the percentage that we're getting in return, and if only 30% out of those 100% that we gave out are only getting the money, I think sometimes it's just a time for us to put a break maybe for a year and say, hey, can we spend our money somewhere else? Can we do fixing of the main entrances to the town? Can we paint the light poles? Can we put new planters downtown? Can we beautify the downtown? Because when the town beautifies itself, people want to invest in the town. And I think it's a collaboration.
Yeah,
And
I
that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I'd like to jump in on that because I was bringing it up myself. To me, it seems like maybe this facade grant, which is a great, I thought it was great because, not because I was on it, but I thought it was. I just want, has this facade grant run its course for right now? Do we need to put it, suspended before you turn one, not get rid of it, but don't do anything with it for a year or whatever?
Can I give you some figures? Okay, this is based on the history here, okay, not including this year, which we do have 5 people that are awarded, whether they, whether they follow through is yet to be seen. But based on these 4 years that we're looking at here, we've had a utilization rate of 66.66%. Okay, there's been 21 grants approved and 14 completed in the 4-year period. Okay, the expenditure rate, based on 25 grand a year, maximum allotted for 4 years would be 100,000. And what we've actually spent is 37.68% of that that's been utilized to date. Okay, and I kind of agree. If you look, well, even if you look at the, say, you're not looking at the 100,000 over the 4 years, and you're just looking at the overall expenditure rate was 78,000 when we could have awarded 100. Okay, if you base it on that, still it was less than 50%. It was a 48.3% of the expenditure. And I really think there's other things, like we had talked about, Randy, remember when we talked about powder coating and maybe even changing the colors of the light poles downtown, trying to, beautify and, but we've got to pick a look. You can't do one thing one year and something else the next year and have any kind of cohesive look, and I think that's part of the problem with this and changing people year after year after year. It's like you guys are starting from day one every year, and I'm sure that's like Groundhog's Day, and it's pretty frustrating. And by the way, she did do a phenomenal job. I will give kudos to that. But, I just don't see, in the real business world, that would not be considered a success. And I do think that there are better ways that we can do that. And I did want to address the subway because you said in the meeting that you had a problem with the subway.
Well, that was one.
We had 14 applications, okay, and the ones that are there, the most qualified they were the most qualified. Most of them didn't meet the criteria, or they had already done a lot of the work. Okay, there are very few that actually met the criteria. And our thinking on the subway was that it did meet the criteria of the 2019, the placement plan. Under the area where it said we need outside seating, in particular seating for outdoor meals.
I noticed
So-
some of the areas encouraged outdoor
Yes,
dining areas.
and we need that. If anything's gonna happen downtown, that's part of
The
it.
problem is, some of the buildings are on, adjoined to the public sidewalks, and then you get small dining, cafe tables out there, and they infringe a little bit into the sidewalk, and then you get citizen complaints.
you're never gonna please everybody. That's for sure, so that
You've been
shouldn't
at
be
it
the
a
goal.
year, I've been at it 26, I know
But
that.
Rita, and just to clarify that part too, I mean, there was a lot of back and forth too, where we were making sure that the property was even owned by them. I mean, we have Randy, we gave him that homework, we gave Rita that homework to do that, because one of the things that we wanted to make sure that we were not, going to be touching was that inspections, and what was that gonna look like. The inspections were gonna take longer for the owners to do, and so there were a lot of things that they did for us to make sure that we were able to approve even that grant.
I wanna clarify, make this clear too. I wasn't putting our staff down by any means, or anyone that's been working on these programs. I'm just talking about the program itself,
Oh, yeah.
not the staff
We
that's been working.
understand.
Okay.
No,
All
no,
right.
we
So,
understand.
Are we at a point in life that we maybe want to, if we were to take a year off and retool this program? If you look, we're starting, I mean, we could start applications now, I guess, since it's 2025. But I still think there's some better refining that this program can take. Now, it was designed after the city of Salem's facade grant program.
Exactly.
Did you reach out to them?
No, I didn't know.
That's who
That's
this
what
was
Ken-
designed by, I mean, this is,
And they do facade grants, and
yeah,
the one of the previous, what was his name? The guy,
Benjamin.
Is that,
Benjamin.
yeah,
Benjamin came from Salem, so working from Salem. He started the program there, and he was working for the town until last year?
so you reach out to the city of Salem, or I'm sure you can find it on the web, but anyway.
You can actually watch in some of the meetings.
So-
He talked extensively about that, and he's right. We started all the program itself was really the steps that Benjamin gave us,
Mhm.
and even the girl is from Salem too. The one that did the drawings and stuff. She came
Yeah.
from Salem too.
so I think like Mike just said, again, I'm gonna bring it back, do we need to put this thing on suspension for a year or so and give the
Direction.
committees time to regroup?
So we have some ideas, and,
Okay.
if we feel like we need to pause, it's fine, but I don't think we need to pause to implement some of our ideas. Did you say you had 16 applications?
Yes.
16 applications, 13 applications, so that tells me there's still lots of interest,
I believe
even.
those were,
But how many?
Yeah.
They
still
were
have
worked
pushed.
on, people were
They were knocking on
solicited
doors.
to get
They were
those
residents.
applications.
They were.
If we were to continue this, I'm sorry, you finished, I'm sorry.
I guess I'm just saying that I think there's still interest. I think that we can equip people through some targeted marketing, through some workshops, through some adjustment of our criteria so that we can expand the program. Like, I think it's still valuable. I guess because it doesn't hurt us if we try new things with the program. If we pause, that's fine, but I don't think we need a year to pull some new ideas together. In our committee meeting last week, we had a lot of great ideas that I think we could implement. They could be clean, they could be ready, we could try them this year. If we can't try them this year, then okay, maybe we pause for a year, but I guess I just don't know that pausing for a year is something that at least I don't think we need to do.
I agree, I feel like if we pause it at all, it's gonna get stale and filed on a bookshelf somewhere and maybe not picked up again, which I think there's still a lot of eligible buildings and businesses out there to do, and so,
There were business workshops here that were done in the town. Amanda had said that she had spoken to those businesses. How much information was given by you, because you took that program after, when she was doing it? Do you give any of that information as well to those business owners?
When you say took the program, are you talking about Launch Christians? Group?
Yes,
That's different.
Yes.
That's not the
I
same
know, but that
program.
was a place where it was talk about that they were giving implementation and tools for businesses if they wanted to open a business.
There was no
To give them
conversations,
information.
to my understanding, about the facade grant program at least within the Launch Christiansburg program, the
Right.
workshops.
When you
I don't
spoke
think
into
so
them.
either. Yeah, I took over after the workshops, but Dari was in the workshops and it sounds like there wasn't any in there. I'll also say just to that point, and again, whatever you all decide, I do, think that there are some things that my department could do better, as far as helping this program if you all do decide to go forward. That's your decision, not mine, but I think that we could do some targeted marketing, and then also with Miles, I'm not sure how much Amanda, how many interactions she was having with the facade grant specifically. I know she was meeting with businesses, but I had thought that there was concern before that she wasn't meeting with businesses as often as some council members would prefer. And I don't know which is true or how you all feel, but I know that Miles is off to a good start, and so.
I'm gonna stick out for her on this one.
Okay.
She did speak about facade grants
Okay.
to many businesses that I've spoken with.
Okay.
And so I may not, there were several things that happened, but as far as that one goes, I will stick out my hands for her
Sure.
on that one.
And
So-
I'm not saying she didn't, I just thought that I thought I had remembered you saying that she didn't communicate with businesses as much as you had
She didn't
wanted her to.
communicate about,
Yeah.
the events and different things
Sure.
that were important to the businesses, But as far as like the facade grant, she was the one that pushed for those grants to come through, for them to show up and everything else. So no, there was a push for those facade grants to show up on the desk. And I mean, we went from having like one by the timeline, and all of a sudden we got like back to back, and that was within a very short
Yeah.
period of time. So do I think that work has been done to promote this? It has been done. I don't think that I can agree with the fact that it hasn't. We have worked with extending the frame of, this was back in
We even extended the timeline to
2022.
get more applications,
to get more
because they weren't
applications.
coming in.
But I
When
don't think
we
anybody's saying you
started-
guys- I don't think anybody's saying
I'm
you
sorry.
guys.
No, I
One
don't think
second.
so either.
So from 2019, you probably correct me if I'm wrong, Sam. You guys' mob was very small, a lot smaller than this.
It was.
And then it started to grow and grow
And
and
that's what
grow.
this program, it has grown, cause before we didn't have PR involved, we didn't have a small town person. So it has grown, so that's why I'm wondering if it's grown so much that maybe everyone that's involved needs to come together, cause we had committees that ran out and did a lot, review the application, stuff like that. As far as central business part, I'm not putting them down by any means, we didn't say control them. We gave them advice when they, but we had the committees, I think it's what it's called, grant committees. They did a lot of the work themselves, as far as having their own meetings and things, and we as central business, we more or less went to their meeting. So it wasn't like,
We had an opposite thing, we had
So-
selected committee members and only one of them showed up
okay,
consistently.
we'll say that,
Two of
things
them
have changed.
only showed maybe
yeah.
And I
one
mean,
time or one
many of
time
them,
each, or one showed twice. But we had postponed and had to move.
and we
move
had
things down the
business
road
owners
because of
in
that.
part of that group. Some of them had gotten grants in the past. I mean, we have tried to do the best that we can to promote this. And I mean, and like I said to you, I think it had been a great program. I think, for myself, I would love to use it, but how many people are you actually gonna help? And are you gonna help them every year? Because some of these businesses, they even apply can I steal your thing for a minute? Because I'm gonna look for mine. But we had, no, actually, I just found it here. But we had several businesses that, apply for the application several times. And it's always kind of the same people, Old Town Barber. Obviously, the one time they didn't actually use it, but then you have Southview Development, you had Electrical Supply. It just felt like it was the same people,
I thought our rules said that if you use it this year, you can't use it next year.
No, there is not. Mm-mm.
One of the problems I have with the whole thing
Is that not what
is
the rules
the
say?
mission.
No, we wanted to do something at one point, but it never passed through town
I
council.
think we decided if you applied for it for a year or 2 years and didn't take it, didn't
if you
use
don't-
it,
if you don't
then you
use
were
it-
ineligible for the next round.
No, we actually didn't even implement that.
Okay.
That had been part of, we wanted to do something like that because at first, every year they would apply, but obviously, even if they apply, sometimes they didn't do the paperwork, they didn't do the work. I mean, it was just applying for things that were irrelevant.
Free money, yeah.
Yeah,
One of the
and I mean,
problems
this
that-
is not free, you know what I mean? I'm not talking bad about
It's a
you.
matching grant.
But it's a matching grant and it's taxpayers' money, you know? And we had some, like, for residents, you know? If we're gonna start picking, choosing, you know, winners and losers, like the one guy said in town council, it makes us look bad. Look really bad. I have a whole bunch of properties. My husband has lists of maintenance lists that every single one of those properties needs. And
Well,
so,
I don't, what do you mean by picking winners and losers?
well, if you're picking the same people, time and time again,
Like over others, you mean?
Yeah.
Has there been an instance where someone didn't get an award because someone got an award twice?
we had given it to them. That they didn't wanna use it or something happened in between, that's up to them, but they have received that.
But I
But
mean,
it
like,
didn't-
did
no.
somebody miss out on an opportunity to receive the grant funding because somebody was awarded two times? in a
When I was
row?
serving, I'm gonna have to say no. I know what you're saying.
Don't
I'm gonna have to say
remember,
no.
but I do think that we had several occasions where we had people applying year after year, like the Cambria Depot, which they never even used the money. And we even put little things like changing the wording to say, you can apply from even, what was it, as low as you can. Because at first, I had a comment from one of the business owners that told me, well, you can only qualify for up to 5,000, but there was no specification about where you could start. And I was like, well, if you wanna pay $50 and something, you know, we'll match the $50, just apply, you know? And they're like, oh, okay, so that makes sense. So then we changed the wording to say $0 to $5,000.
Basically, there's no evidence that we denied somebody a grant to give somebody preferential treatment.
No, but it could have happened
Okay,
because
could've, but
you could have, well,
But it
actually,
didn't
no,
happen.
we went through that this year where we had so many grants that came through. And some of them, the committee thought $5,000 is not worth for us to give them just to plant trees. You know, and so we gave them less. And we gave somebody else the full amount, or, I mean, we gave some
But
of
that's
them.
that's the purpose of the committee, is to make those conscious decisions with what to do with the money.
Right.
And that's the process. I mean,
It was a lot of work.
we have not arguing it's a lot of work,
Yeah.
but that is a part of the process, the way it was designed, and so I personally don't hear anything that says that the program isn't working, that we, you know,
According to the mission statement, I don't think it is working.
so,
Okay, the mission statement says that it is to increase revenue. Do we have any statistics on revenue increase as opposed to the expenses for the program?
How are you guys tracking that?
It's
That's
not my
why we're
job.
asking.
I'm asking Randy. Yeah, you know, what are we spending on employee time? What are we spending on advertising? What are we spending on all of the things that it takes to put the Facade grant program together, including the grants themselves, and what are we bringing in because of it? We should be able to measure. Are there any, you know,
Yeah.
increases in these businesses' income because of the grant? Can we look at that? Because that's the purpose of the program.
You're allowed to look at individual business incomes.
Yeah.
You can look at the tax revenue. You get that.
Actually, you really can't, off of an individual business, cause that basically tells you what their revenue is.
But, I mean,
All right,
I
so,
understand, I mean, I don't necessarily agree with that piece of the intent of the program assisting for profit businesses growing the tax base. Like, I think the intent of the program needs to be more aligned with improving the look and feel of those areas so that, I mean, sure, it improves the traffic into the businesses, but does it also improve the look and feel of downtown and of Cambria, and of people wanting to come down and see those things and enjoy those places and the value of our downtown as a whole? And I mean, I see it more than just we're only giving you this because we're gonna build our tax revenue, although I think it eventually, as a domino effect, leads to that through the improvement of downtown and through hopefully more businesses coming downtown or more people walking through downtown because it's a nice place to be. You know what I mean? But that's not necessarily something you can measure. We just have to know that improving the look of our downtown improves the quality of it and improves the draw for people to be there, you know?
So
this,
it's not a business, central business
for central business, that's
facade
what
grant
we're
program.
pushing
yet.
for businesses.
I think it's a
And so
facade
the
grant
facade
program. I don't
grant
think
program-
central business is in the name of this grant program.
And obviously Casey
Business.
Jenkins and everything, we really, I
For-profit
mean, you
business
brought a
is
lot of
definitely in
information
Yeah,
to
but that's what I'm
this,
saying.
which
I
you
think
made
it
it
should be
look
in the
like
mission.
the way it looks right now, which is great. I think the mission statement, there's no problem with the mission statement. The facade grant program aims to help business owners with the concept of property owners improve their building facades and encourage investment in our businesses areas. That's designed to enhance the streetscape, strengthen partnerships with stakeholders, and encourage rehabilitation of older business. Furthermore, the intent of the program is to assist for-profit businesses in growing the tax base within the town. So we are increasing to the tax base of the town.
Now, I think the workshop, the mandatory workshop piece, I think that makes a big difference, and I think there's a reason why you see these other localities require it, is that, I mean, you said we had 12, 16 something applications.
13.
13, okay, and a lot were not good, right? But
Yeah.
had they gone through the mandatory training and education, then we might have had,
But
a
that
number
was-
of good applications.
But that was done one-on-one.
Um,
So once we got those applications, we had employees here that Rita went herself and made sure that she was able to figure out how we could qualify them for that, and some of them
Well,
just
yeah.
couldn't qualify.
What I'm saying is get them all around this table together and say you all need to be here at this time if you want to remain eligible.
We had
And then-
workshops before, but they weren't mandatory
Right.
workshops to apply.
Right.
Do you know what the percentage of people who attended those?
Off the top of my head, I can't tell you, but,
That was what,
Records on that?
5 years ago, 5 years ago?
it's been, we've had more than one workshop through the years, but, to be honest, Andrew was the person running it. I could probably find out, but.
Yeah, I'd like to know that, because as a business, person, I know time is valuable. And, to me, I mean, when I heard the workshop idea, when I listened to the meeting, I was kind of off-put as a business person by having to jump through one more hoop for a $5,000 grant.
But that goes to the point of saying if you're sincerely interested in improving the looks of your business,
You just
Then
gotta
you
narrow
go.
your
If you
applications.
don't go,
Yeah,
you don't apply.
yeah.
I think that we've approached
We didn't
this.
even have these classes. Go
she-
ahead.
Todd's got the floor.
I think that we've approached this by saying like, whatever you all wanna do, like whenever you get it to us, whenever you get the work done. And it has been extremely relaxed, the process, and that's fine, but I think that I'm leaning toward a different approach, which is a more stringent process. This is the timeline, this is the deadline, very short extensions if we have extensions, more time to get work completed, because we talked about it, like more time in good weather to get work completed versus getting work done in the winter, equipping people with not a workshop that's like, we're requiring you to do this and show up, but like, we're saying, come and get the information to do this right and well, and here's your assistance in how to do that. And make this a competitive grant. This is a grant. This is not, like when we apply for grants, we have grant writers who work very diligently to write a good and competitive grant that's compelling and proves the need for that money. I think that's what we need to expect of people, and it needs to be competitive. This is a great thing that we're offering, is to match that for their own benefit and for the benefit of the town. So I think people need to work hard and apply and put their best effort forward. And we need to tell them how to do that through a workshop and a complete application package that says, here's exactly how you apply and write a winning grant for this. I mean, I think that's how we improve the quality, and I think we improve the effort that they put in, we equip them with the information they need, and I think we'll see, and I hope we'll see, I guess, an increased follow-through, because they will have put this effort in and they're gonna know what to do with that money. Anyway, that's my thought.
Yeah, and I also see that, I mean, we, when Tim and I put together a small business solutions manager, this is the kind of stuff to me that falls under that category. And this facade grant program is going on for what, at least 5 or 6 years total, right?
17 years, 17,
Since 17 or 18, right?
Since 17.
17.
Yeah, and only one full year have we had a small business solutions manager. So it's hard to make that comparison when most of this program that we've operated has not had a designated person up until last year that could have helped address this with businesses. So that's, to me, that was part of the reason why a position like that was created in the first place.
So, Christina,
Yes, sir.
if it is decided that we want to pursue this and Miles works for you, is that something that he can, once we get this thing, is this something that he can follow through on?
I think so,
I mean, you would task him with that?
100%.
Okay. Well, we've got a lot of opinions, a lot of thoughts, some not to do it for a year, and the rest of us that would really like to see it continue. So my suggestion is Casey and Tanya, it is your committee and staff, can you come up with a recommendation, let's say by the March work session, it's a month, as to what you would recommend that the program looks like going forward? Is that a head nod type of council all right with that approach, and a recommendation
I
from
want
you?
to also
And a
see,
recommendation from you as to yes or no that would be presented to council for a formal vote.
I think I want to see not just that, but a recommendation on how you can beautify the downtown, our town, not with that money, if we were to be able to use it for the town to fix themselves, because if we can bring, can you work on the entrances to the town or recommendations for other things, maybe Tanya and Casey have other ideas of how we can beautify the town in ways that the town can do it to, because I do believe that if we invest in ourselves, we make ourselves pretty, probably other people will want to build businesses downtown or other areas.
One of the compliments that I get most from people from out of town that are in town, whether it be for a festival, for whatever,
The
is what a
planters.
very beautiful downtown we have. It's
The
very
planters.
well landscaped. I don't know that I would wanna take on a project of changing the color of those, the streetlights, because prior to that, council spent a long time picking those colors. And we had everything from blue to yellow to whatever else, and this seemed to be the most subtle color to blend with everything else we wanted to do. And I don't think anybody in here can deny that when you drive downtown in the summertime, once Public Works goes to work, and they do the planter boxes and the hanging plants and the baskets and this type of stuff, it's a beautiful sight.
But
I
the
don't know any place
gateways are
around,
not.
I mean, you can't go to Radford, Blacksburg doesn't look that good.
Gateways, Blacksburg looks beautiful.
Well, I think we're just a little off topic from the facade.
I think
grant program, though.
gateways would be a really nice place to start to. I'm just giving you, maybe options for you guys to work on, things that you can bring us with ideas or how to beautify the town.
So I will task central business and if it's okay, the task of coming up with who, what, when, and how. Any other questions or comments about this particular grant, this particular? If there's nothing else, then I will adjourn this meeting. Casey, can I speak to you for a minute?
Sure.
Thank you for coming out on a cold night. Thank goodness it wasn't cold and snowing, but.
Swinging. Oh, we got hot chocolate again? Oh, what you brought it? Does it taste real creamy? Or does it have a little chocolate? Okay. Oh, so you're dark. Oh, all right. Yeah, well, you hit that last time, I'm gonna try it, because nobody tried it out there.
I know with a lot of grants, a low hanging fruit,
All right.
I'm so glad I'm not part of that commission.
All right. We out. We gone.
Hey Kim, did you get my email?
Yeah, and that's what the Virginia Beach showed 1 to 2.
I got the meeting.
No, the email, in response to your request for,
I hadn't checked it.
okay. We can talk after, yeah, feel free to give me a call if you want, and we can talk through it. I just need some clarification on what I can get for one of the
Or
ones.
like our.
Before the schedule, so you wanna do it?
No, you good. I mean, it's about the community support.
Well, this is another.
We don't have time, 2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, with some.
And then let's brainstorm some ideas. I've got some ideas, let's all brainstorm some ideas of like, what do we want this committee to look like? Not committee, this grant to look like, let's just brainstorm some ideas, we'll come ready.
March 5th.